Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to the Marburger postgame show. This will be our last show for this season since the state championships are tomorrow. I am with
Dennis Davis
and
Thompson Afani with a mouthful of burger.
Yeah, there you go. We're eating some good food from up
You
at
thank
Newt's.
Sasha for that.
You folks in Shelby, if you haven't been out to Newt's, you better go because they got some real good food, and we're sampling some of it right now.
Now, Lewis, if I may interject.
Yes, sir. Interject.
I went down there at Newt's, and they always take good care of me when I go down there. They told me they have a special burger down there. It is the green burger.
Green
burger.
And at first I thought, oh no, this isn't one of those liberal hippie no meat burgers.
But St. Patrick burger.
But what it is garlic pepper mayonnaise, feta onions, romaine lettuce, and Caesar dressing. Ooh. And Dennis, for you, I know you like to go to the gym, on a wrap, not a bun.
Ooh.
Low calorie.
Well, when you said green burger, I was thinking St. Patrick's Day.
I did too.
That really sounds good. Get down to Newt's and have one of those. Or, you know that they've got the gluten-free buns that you can substitute down there for a small extra charge. And they get their beef from the Martin Charlet farm.
Falston.
In Falston. So, get down there and get some fresh food, get some gluten-free, get some creative burgers.
Good food, friends.
Yeah. Good stuff down there at Newt's. And we like to thank those brought this food in, and I swear it's like a pack of wolves went back to that thing. And I thought Steve was going to rip it out of my hand there, but Steve, I am proud of you for still wearing that Duke cap despite the embarrassment they suffered last week. They fought them hard in the first quarter, boys. I was at that game. It was cold, and I'm going to tell you what, for those folks up in Durham, by the second quarter, the end of it, it was really getting cold. But congratulations. What bowl are they going to, Steve? Where's Duke going?
Orange Bowl?
I think no. They're going to a New Year's Day bowl. Chick-fil-A, Pete. Yeah, the Chick-fil-A.
I like
gonna
Chick-fil-A.
play Texas A&M.
Yeah, they're gonna play Johnny Manziel.
Football.
Johnny Manziel.
So that's get on down there to Newt's, as we were saying, and go down there and support our sponsors. We always appreciate that. And Dennis and Lewis, I guess we want to get back to the subject matter at hand.
We got a score here. Terry's given to us with 8:47 to go in the ball game. It's T.W. Andrews 12, Monroe 8, and that's in Chapel Hill at the 2 AA championship. My son is at that ball game, Dennis, and he's going to call us after a while and give us a blow by blow. He's supposed to take notes, and he said he's going to call us after a while and tell us what's going on.
That reminds me, I've got to text my daughter. She's going to call in tonight. She one of the schools, she works with Durham Public Schools as a curriculum coordinator, and one of the schools she has is Southern Durham.
Right.
And so she told me a few things about the boys down there. This is one of those situations, as I called in earlier to Terry and Sam on the pregame show, this is their ticket out. For these kids who don't have a lot in the world, playing football is their ticket to an education. Their quarterback's got a scholarship to Duke.
Hey.
They got a receiver going to NC State.
Hello.
So there's a lot of things here that are working positive for these kids. When they're selling cracks, Tom, on the sidewalk outside the school, as she tells me, this is the best hope that a lot of these kids have got to get out of that environment.
Well, that's why I always say athletics.
Steve knows Durham. You know what I'm talking about, Steve.
Been involved in athletics. A lot of my still involved here or there, not as much as I used to be, but athletics for the young people. There's just nothing better outside the classroom. The classroom always comes first, but it is a way out for a lot of the ones that don't get scholarships. It builds those skills of character, the responsibility, and builds those relationships that you need for the rest of your life. So, that's a great thing for Southern Durham. I kind of hope it's not too great tonight. I kind of like to see the hometown boys win this one.
Yeah.
When I was looking at their scores, Southern Durham seemed to be able to put up some pretty impressive point totals over the season. And looked like they had a couple of 400-yard passing games.
So they have a quarterback that's thrown for over 3,000 yards. Yeah. And as you know, Tom, from one of the things that people have done to Crest this year, particularly earlier in the year, was they threw the ball and were successful at it. Now, that defense has gotten better as the season's gone on because, one, they've gotten experience. They're no longer freshmen or sophomores that hadn't played. They made a couple of changes and adjustments there. They put P.J. Brooks back on both sides of the ball playing defense. So Crest has made some adjustments. It'll be a good defensive battle. I predict, Lewis, this game will be a lot like that Northern Guilford game. It will come down to the wire as to which team will win. I think Crest, because of their experience, having been there before, knowing what the atmosphere's like, this is Southern Durham's first trip to the Ship. Yeah. And Crest, this is, hey, we know how to, like Coach Barnes said on the pregame show, I don't know if you boys heard him or not, we know how the routine goes. We know what to do. We know when we get there. We know how to plan. We know what time frames we're working.
And didn't have to get off the bus this year.
Yeah, and something else I was thinking, if you have a team that likes to pass, you know what they don't like? They don't like a team that controls the clock and runs the ball like Crest. That's what Crest likes to do. And you've got a guy over there who likes to throw the ball. He doesn't like sitting on the sideline.
Denver found that out, didn't he?
Yeah. And plus you get a good Crest defense to get a couple 3-and-outs and keep that good quarterback on the sideline, and then it gets out of rhythm. I think that matchup could favor Crest if they can control the ball.
The thing about the Crest running game, Tom,
excuse me, what time is that game?
That's at 7 p.m. right here on KTC Broadcasting.
At Carter Finley.
No, that's in Winston-Salem at
Winston,
BB&T, Wake Forest Field, and it's artificial turf, Lewis, so don't worry about the rain. And the rain is supposed to have passed through Winston. Now, it'll still be raining tomorrow night in Raleigh and Chapel Hill, but at 7 o'clock, it's supposed to be about 37 degrees and a 10% chance of rain.
Hello.
So dress accordingly, folks, but the field should be fast. And here's the thing I was going to say about the Crest running game. Not only do they like to run power, but they run power and they run quickly. And so teams that are good at stopping that old fullback plugging into the line, Lewis, they sometimes don't handle it when that guy breaks through or goes around the end and it's gone.
It's not always the same person under center for Crest. They give you a couple of different looks, and they've got the big offensive line. So I mean, they are going to try to take control of that ball game and keep that ball away from Southern Durham. Whenever I look at their point totals and like, man, they're 50 in this game, 60 in this game.
Yeah,
that's a team that can score quickly. They want the ball, so you keep that ball away from them as long as you can.
Run the clock. But now, Tom, let's go back to last week. I had to leave over there, and they were down 17-10 when I left, Lewis. They came back and tied it up, not by running the ball, but by passing the ball. So Crest can throw the ball. And this time it was a touchdown pass, not from the quarterback, Tom, but from the running back.
The jump pass.
I
tell you what, that's from the old the school. We got an update here. Monroe jumps ahead of T.W. Andrews, 14-12. It's kind of interesting. I've had a couple of my wife's. My wife's got a cousin down there, and her cousin's kids did go to Monroe. I wonder if they went to that ball game. But that little school's really grown up. It seems like it used to be a 1A school, Dennis. Am I right on that?
What's happened in Union County is, Lewis, all the people who've left Mecklenburg County either went to Iredell County or they've gone to Union County, and therefore their population has increased.
Yeah.
They've got a lawsuit down there now where the school system sued the county commissioner and said, you're about $94 million short because we've got so many people coming in here. So very easily these schools that are 1A and 2A could be jumping to 3A, 4A pretty soon.
Tom, when I was in high school, Monroe was 3A.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Union County diversified, built more schools, and they filtered them down, and they were 1A. And now with the increased population in the area, they're back up to 2A.
Well, it's funny you say they're $94 million short because this is what happens.
I know.
They move into the county to take advantage of the low taxes.
Texas rate. And then they got to raise the taxes to pay.
They got to raise the taxes because
ding, ding, ding.
I mean,
the school board down there sued the county commission and won a $91 million judgment.
Yeah.
However, the county commission says we ain't got but
and
14
they offered them
million.
what, 11 million?
14.
14.
So the
Well,
87.
Well, we ain't going to get into politics
We're not
tonight,
going to get
fellas.
it. This
That's
is not the
another show.
Marburger. This is Marburger
This ain't,
football,
smack,
not
this
politics.
ain't political smackdown. You can
Unfortunately,
watch that somewhere else.
when you got 3 history teachers, that always
Yeah.
seems to happen. But I'd like to see Monroe hold on. I want to see all the Western teams hold on and win these ball games. So hopefully Monroe can hang on. Dakota, okay.
His fun fact. For today.
Fun fact for today is today it snowed in Cairo, Egypt for the first time in 112 years. I wonder if Hosni Mubarak saw that from his jail cell. Or he's dead now, isn't he?
Hosni Mubarak didn't
He's
see
died.
anything.
We're not going to
dead.
talk politics, fellas.
He's in a pyramid somewhere.
We're not going to talk politics. I'm not, saying it just because the Muslim Brotherhood runs the country now. It snowed for the first time in 112 years. It would be a cold day in Cairo when that happened.
Absolutely, and it was. Yeah.
Steve likes that, huh? But you know you like it. That's funny. I don't care who y'all.
No,
But anyway.
Mubarak. I'm sorry, Mubarak's not dead. I was thinking he's still alive.
You know what? He's sick though.
Oh,
he's
bad.
ill.
Yes,
yeah,
he's
that's
ill.
what it is.
Yeah,
ill.
he's sick of it.
It's kind of like back in the 70s when Chevy Chase said, and Francisco Franco is still dead.
Meanwhile, back at football, let's talk a little
Wow,
bit.
this is more fun.
I know we're history teachers.
Let's move over to Shelby and talk a little bit about the Golden Lions.
Oh yeah.
And the interesting thing when I was reading the articles in the paper today about how I can remember when Coach Stewart, after my generation left over there at Crest, and then you had the next generation that they really started throwing the ball around a lot and were a high-powered spread. But now, and Shelby was a traditional running team, and now those roles are reversed, and it's the Shelby Golden Lions. Airware that like to throw the ball. And what surprised me, I didn't realize Shelby averaging over 40 points a game.
And with a 3,000-yard passer
With a
this year.
3,000-yard passer. So
See a senior?
Purdy Allen is spinning somewhere in
Yeah.
a grave. I know.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, he is.
But I was
This kid a junior, senior.
I believe he's a junior.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Hello. Be
Well,
interesting
I'll
again.
double check here. No, it doesn't tell me.
I think
his
he's
class.
gonna, he's gonna be around for another year. I think, but the job that they've done down there at Shelby, I mean, it's a really great job. We talk a lot about Lance Ware, but some other good coaches are down there, like David Devine, guy came over from Burns, believe he's the defensive coordinator over there. Really great coach, helping that program. So I mean, they've got a good staff down there. They're committed to winning, and they went through it. Some people criticizing them a little bit for switching over a couple years ago. Remember to passing the ball more.
Do you remember when we used to get all those phone calls about Coach Norman?
Yeah.
Oh, why don't he throw the football? I said,
Yeah.
look here.
Oh, Lewis.
He's won 8 conference championships, 2 state championships. What else do you
But
want?
then after he was gone and the
now
first
they're
couple,
back, yeah.
then they were saying, well, why is he throwing the ball so much?
While you were
You
on
know?
your sabbatical and Coach Ware put this passing thing in, you should have heard the mashing of teeth and wailing that was going on. Hey, he's trying to throw the ball. That ain't working. Got to get back to running.
But it goes back to what I've always said. If
Yeah.
you think you can coach better than Lance Ware or Matt Beam or Coach Barnes or
Absolutely.
Coach Lloyd or Coach Cloninger over there,
Anybody, yes.
Coach Sane at Wesley, you can't. These
No.
guys know what they're doing.
Well, the thing
and
about
they
it
work
is,
hard.
fans a lot of times are so uninformed as to what they have no idea how much time spent, how much repetition. They don't have a clue.
It seems like the least informed have the most to say on these issues.
Oh,
it's a
that's a
surprising
fact.
thing.
That
So,
is a fact.
That's true in just about anything, it seems like. But if you talk to these guys, if you talk to Coach Ware, Coach Beam, or Coach Barnes, or Coach Lloyd, all that, you could tell these guys know their football.
Absolutely.
They work hard, and it's their passion. And if they're doing something, it's because they've researched it and have studied it and know what they're doing. And you can tell the results of the Shelby Golden Lions and that high-powered offense. All the work has paid off.
It's just like Coach Klunger started out this year in that spread, and he found out that wasn't going to work, and he went back to the eye.
Yeah, you got to
have
make
to
adjustments.
adjust.
Sometimes
Yeah,
during the
absolutely.
course of the game, and that's the difference between winning programs, Lewis,
Exactly.
and programs that don't. We got a game plan, we're sticking to it, and
That's
you
it.
end up getting beat. Whereas a
Absolutely.
good coach will go in there at halftime and he'll say, look, we got to block this way, or we've got to
Absolutely.
run rather than throw. Those adjustments are what makes winning teams. Folks, we want to hear from you folks out there. In Gaston County, it's 704-435-3297. In Shelby, it's 704-482-1390. In Lincoln County, it's 704-735-8071. So give us a call. If you're going down to the game tomorrow, if you're going to be in Chapel Hill, be sure and take some rain gear. No umbrellas, by the way, Lewis. You know, the North Carolina
Not
High School
Keenan,
Athletic
yeah.
Association. No umbrellas, any of that stuff. So be prepared with a poncho or something to big sheet of plastic that you can go down there and do that.
And it's going to be cold, too.
No,
so
no
take
coolers
something
either.
warm.
No coolers. Yeah, can't turn the cooler up over your head, keep the rain out either. But anyway, if you hey,
Hey, son, that's a $900 coat. What are you doing?
think of all the cashmeres I had to kill to get
I
that thing.
know,
Boy,
I
put that
started to
thing
say.
down. Anyway, if you're going down tomorrow to Chapel Hill, get there early. And the Shelby side will be on the south side of the stadium. And that'll be the home team. Shelby will be the home team tomorrow. And if you're going to Crest over at 7 o'clock, they'll be on what's the Wake Forest side traditionally there.
other side, yeah.
And so
Opposite Preston.
two home teams this year, Shelby
Terry-
and Crest, in their games.
Terry, just give us another update with 3 minutes and 22 seconds left in the ball game. Monroe 14, T.W. Andrews 12, and Monroe has the football. So we will keep you
Yeah.
apprised of that, and we'll get a report on that game here as soon as my son calls in.
Now, I know the Shelby fans, Lewis, may already have gone to bed because they got to rise early in the morning.
They have to get up,
if they're
yeah.
going by bus or if they're traveling by vehicle.
Right.
But we'd like to hear from some of those of you that are not maybe going down to the game tomorrow. They'd like to call in and talk about the Shelby Golden Lions. I know maybe Steve DeGree's out there. Bobby told me he might call in.
All right, now what is our broadcast schedule for tomorrow with the playoffs?
Our broadcast schedule is we were going to be, I believe, for each of those games, there'll be an hour-long pregame show starting at 10 o'clock from Chapel Hill. And I'm sure Jeff Jones and the usual cast of characters will be doing that. And then
Now, what stations is that going to be on?
all of them.
All the stations.
Lincoln, Cherryville,
Very
and
good.
Shelby.
Excellent.
Of course, KTC Broadcasting if you got your computer.
Absolutely.
And then, since the 7 o'clock game is later, we'll come on the air with Andy and Tim and Rob and those folks at 6 o'clock for
I
the
see.
pregame show. The game to be followed at 7 o'clock.
On
and then
all three stations
all
again.
three stations.
That's
We
fantastic.
don't leave out nobody.
That's fantastic.
People in Lincoln want to hear this championship
Absolutely.
games. The people in
Absolutely.
Gaston County want to hear this.
Absolutely.
And you know, we don't have the video because
Right.
North Carolina High School Athletic
Time Warner
Association
has a contract.
no. There's just no video on this game tomorrow night. If you really want to know what's going on, you want to know some announcers that know the teams and understand what's happening, know the players, and can analyze it, not some tin can talking at you. Tune in to KTC Broadcasting in Cherryville or Lincoln or Shelby to listen to the knowledgeable announcers.
Listen to your local station, not the large conglomerate, not Ted Turner. Listen to us on KTC because, like Dennis says, we know these people. We follow them. We know them by their first name. We've had some of them call into the station. So if you want real good analysis and you want to really know what's going on, tune in. And then after the game's over, give us a call. And we always welcome your call. I don't think that other people that are going to that actually know are going to let you call in and talk to them about the game. So listen right here on KTC, and we're going to take a break.
We'll take a short
We're going to
break.
try to sell
And
some stuff.
They done broke something in there.
We'll be back shortly with the Marburger post-game show.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price with names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General Insurance, and Travelers. Drop by their office at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986. Settle in with comfort with a new Comfort Maker heating and air conditioning system from Settle Heating and Air. Comfort Maker heating and cooling products are designed with homeowners in mind, giving Since 1986, the Stamey Funeral Home in Fallston has been serving the families of our area with the finest in funeral service. In 1998, the Tysinger family began to serve the families of the Cherryville community, and today are a proud member of that community, providing services with dignity and respect. Caring for your family like our own, that's their slogan. Come talk with manager Pete Kraft about the services they provide at the Stamey Cherryville Funeral Home, 405 North Dixie Street in Cherryville. Today's high school football broadcast is being brought to you in part by your local Jack in the Box. Visit your nearest Jack in the Box anytime, 24 hours a day. The dining room is open till midnight, Sunday through Thursday, and 24 hours on Friday and Saturday. And of course, the drive-thru is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, it's Jack in the Box, 3618 East Franklin Boulevard in Gastonia, 455 Earl Road in Shelby, and 102 College View Road in Dallas.
Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. Those are the powerhouse of vehicles you'll find at Marburger in Shelby. Plus quality pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. And of course, a service department that is second to no one. So when you're in need of another vehicle, see the friendly staff at Marburger. Marburger, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. 1310 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Proud supporters of our local school athletic teams.
Settle in with comfort with a new Comfort Maker heating and air conditioning system from Settle Heating and Air. Comfort Maker heating and cooling products are designed with homeowners in mind, giving you energy savings to cut your home energy bill. Get the high quality and high efficiency of Comfort Maker air conditioning and heating equipment. Get comfort with confidence from Settle Heating and Air. Visit the website at settleinwithcomfort.com or call 704-481-1788. Is Big O Country, 1390 AM WOHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincoln, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
All right, welcome back to the Marburger postgame show. This is Lewis Carpenter over here. He's playing Angry Birds. And Tom Cinefani over here, so he's ordering a pizza. And I'm your just hanging out here. I'm Dennis Davis.
Got a latest update here on the Monroe game, which my son is at. Monroe intercepted the ball on third down, and Monroe has the ball at their own 38-yard line with about a minute and something left to go.
Sounds like it's time for victory formation.
They're still up 14-12.
Now, Terry was hollering a while ago something about a personal foul.
Andrews just scored a touchdown. They took the lead.
Uh-oh, T-W.
That ain't what he said. What's going on here?
Scored a touchdown.
All right. What's the score, Terry?
What's the score? Wait a minute.
It's either 18, 19, or 20. 18.
18-14.
We took a little trip down to Monroe.
Down to mighty Mississippi.
Well,
Johnny Horton, for all
yeah.
you folks out there listening on the AM side.
102 to go.
102
to go. Well, the Monroe Redhawks are going to have some time to come back, but it's going to be tough. And the headline, it says, "For Monroe, time for unfinished business." How poetic is that?
Yeah,
headline?
you're right about that.
All right. Well, Tom, I just want to take a moment here while we're waiting for our fans to call in. If you're a Crest fan, call us at 704-482-1390. Love to hear from some of you folks. I know you don't have to get up at the crack of dawn unless you're going to the Shelby game. I had planned to go to both games, but since they're calling for heavy rain and all the way down there, and fortunately the confines of the press box doesn't leak in Chapel Hill, but I just don't know that I can get fired up quite that early after doing this late night to get down there to Chapel Hill by 10 o'clock.
Matthew said it was cold in the press box at Chapel Hill this afternoon.
It's a cold day in Chapel Hill when, never mind. I know you got that Duke hat on, Steve. Well, anyway, let's just run over a couple things. I'm looking at the Sweet 16. It don't mean, whatever, but we've been going through this year, and it gives us a snapshot of where these teams stand right now. I listened to Langston Wirtz and the boys this week explain about these teams. This is not the last one. The last one will be about Christmas when they do the post-championship games. And it depends on what Mallard Creek does, Tom, if they win a state championship, because Northwestern has already won one in South Carolina, and they're battling for that 1-2 spot. But down the list here, Lewis, East Lincolnton had such a good season, even with 5 losses. They're still in the number 16 spot. North Rowan in the 2A came in at 15. Forest View, a team that really surprised some people, I think, Tom, this year.
They sure did.
They came in at 14. Number 13 was Rocky River, and they've got Shelby at number 12. I'm going to have to say I think Shelby is down there because their record of 4 losses, but, hey, I'd say Shelby's the best 4-loss team in the state. We're going to find out.
You're playing for the state championship.
We're going to find out tomorrow. And at number 11, they've got Monroe at 13-2, but it looks like they got an uphill struggle right now, Lewis.
Monroe's going to get beat probably.
Yeah. Huff is the number 10 team. Now, Rock Hill South Point had a rough year, Tom. They have some great athletes down there. Unfortunately, they didn't keep all those folks eligible for the year, and that changed their game plan quite a bit. At number 8, also tied, the other South Point. So South Point and South Point were tied for 8th. Number 7, Concord, a team that is playing for a state championship tomorrow, Lewis.
Undefeated team, huh?
Undefeated team against a team that they played for a state championship last year.
Who was also undefeated.
Undefeated. So, that immovable object meets the irresistible force.
Something's got to give.
Something's got to give tomorrow, and I got a feeling it'll be the Spiders get squished.
There's a good possibility. Havelock's loaded.
Butler.
Yeah, that's the one with the 6 Division I prospects.
Yeah.
Okay.
6 or 7. They've got quite a few.
Okay.
Butler, a perennial powerhouse in Charlotte-Mecklenburg. They're ranked number 6. I think that's probably because they're in Charlotte-Mecklenburg, not because they're that good. A good team, though, from Charlotte-Mecklenburg would be Catholic, and Elijah Hood, I believe, and some of the things I saw is the North Carolina Player of the Year in some of the polls and contests. Number 4, Charlotte Christian, an independent school, finished 12-0. I'm just not sure how those private schools would do against a team like Charlotte Catholic.
Poorly.
Butler. Yeah.
Well, it depends on whether you're playing football or doing the SAT.
Well, hell now. Yeah. I will say this for Charlotte Catholic. They have one heck of a girls' swimming team down there. They have dominated the state of North Carolina ever since they've been eligible, Lewis, in the girls' swim team. So if you're going to try to catch a girl from Charlotte Catholic in the water, you better be good. Number 3, Tom, your alma mater, not Burns,
The Crest Chargers.
Crest Chargers, Tommy. I know you're a proud alumnus. You're wearing your green and gold jersey tomorrow in honor of the Chargers. Are you punting tomorrow by chance?
No, I won't be punting tomorrow. I think I'm a little too old.
Too old. And right now it's a tie almost between Mallard Creek and Rock Hill. And hold on just a minute. I got to take this call. It's from the boss man. Hold on. Excuse me a minute.
So,
I got it. Go ahead, Tom. You got anything else?
No.
Dennis has got a phone call.
Well, Dennis has got a phone call. I'm looking here at the Sweet 16. I don't really get into these things as much. You know why? There's just too hard to compare the teams.
They are.
Unless they really played.
And I'm going to tell you something else too. For those who don't follow football, and I'm saying this, I'm going to say it because I believe it. South Carolina football is at a different level. because they have spring practice.
Yeah.
They put more emphasis on it. In North Carolina, traditionally, the baseball coaches won't allow spring practice
Yeah.
because of the conflict with baseball. But in South Carolina, baseball's not that big. Football's king, and so therefore they have spring practice. And when you start comparing South Carolina teams with North Carolina teams, as a general rule, if you have a championship team out of South Carolina, they're going to beat a championship team out of North Carolina, in my opinion.
I think that in addition to that, it seems like South Carolina allows some bigger high schools, like a Gaffney. If you look at a Gaffney, South Carolina, I would say, I don't have the data in front of me, I would say that Cherokee County and Cleveland County are roughly the same size.
They have
Yeah.
in South Carolina, the Big 16.
Right, and Gaffney's one of those.
Right. The 16 largest schools in the state of South Carolina play for their own championship.
Right.
And then they have a 4A, 3A, 2A, and a 1A.
Right. Could you imagine if 2 Cleveland County high schools shut down, or even in Lincoln County, if 2 Lincoln County high schools shut down and you would combine the teams?
Oh, I know.
So, that would play into it as well. But when you do have spring practice, it's not just because you can go out there and practice, but when you get the guys that are really year-round football
Experience,
players
yes.
and the experience,
Exactly.
and that's gonna make a difference.
And those kind of kids will stay in shape. They'll come to the weight room. They'll do what they're supposed to get better, and that's
yeah, I
all there is
think
to it.
athletic talent is probably on par, but I think you're right when you say it's the emphasis. It's the emphasis on the game and the emphasis on football being more year-round. Of course, a lot of teams up here are doing their mini camps and things in the spring, and things they're allowed to do within the rules of state of North Carolina. But it's not just like putting pads on.
well.
every
That
day.
7-on-7 has. I've heard a
7-on-7.
lot of coaches really praise that. They say that has really helped them.
and speed camp and things like that.
Well, Lewis, you coached a long time. I used to coach. You couldn't do nothing. When the season was over, the season was over. It was baseball and track. And what you did was the guys that weren't playing baseball, you got your running backs and your receivers out there, and you run them on the track. But you couldn't do nothing until August the 1st.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
South Carolina, shoot, they had spring practice. They had summer practice. They had whenever. They started 2 weeks before North Carolina practicing. We kept losing the Shrine Bowl, Tommy, every year.
Absolutely.
Every year.
And they said, well, that's just not fair. And so the North Carolina High School Athletic Association made some changes, and we can now do the 7-on-7 and some summer drills. There's no contact allowed. It's more of the skills positions. And so with that, teams are going to camps now. They can do that. And it's become more of a specialized sport. Back in the day, Tommy, you played football until basketball, which got you in shape for baseball, which got you in shape for playing summer baseball, which ended hopefully in time for you to start playing football.
I'll tell you what's rare. When Mike Stewart was down there at Crest, he was the head coach of the football team and the baseball team. That's almost unheard of today, Dennis.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's unheard of today. Those football coaches are doing football all spring. But I think there's some advantages the way we used to do it. I think it used, when you see a kid play 3 sports, you got to watch the kid. You got to enjoy the kid all year.
You get to know the kid.
You get to
and you
know
get to
the
see him
kid.
in different ways.
You get to see him in different ways.
I do remember I had one kid for me one time. He was a 9th grader. He was a pretty good athlete. And we said, well, you're going to play football next year. And he said, no, I'm burned out. And you get that sometimes with young athletes because they go from sport to sport to sport. And the other thing, Tom, they don't understand a lot of times is the stress it places on their body going from sport to sport. I have a friend who has a young daughter right now. Her foot's in a cast. She plays tennis. She plays soccer. She plays basketball.
Stress fracture.
And stress fractures.
Yeah.
And, Lewis, when you're young kids
Yep.
and your bones haven't set, you get a lot of that kind of stress-fractured shin splint stuff.
I'll tell you another thing I think burns kids out. I know some parents that's got their kids playing ball at 4,
Yeah.
and they're just right. I think it's too young.
and travel teams.
Oh yeah,
This-
yes. I know some kids with a 6-year-old on a travel team.
Yeah.
And I think especially, see, that's really a baseball. Volleyball does it too. I've got a little experience in working with that program, and there's volleyball kids doing this on the weekend. Baseball, but I think you have to be careful in baseball if the kid's pitching.
Yeah, arm strength.
Oh, they ruin arms.
And I think that there's a lot of people out there who want to fill some kids' heads up with things and get them to pay a little bit of money to do this and that. And I wonder if they have the kid in mind or themselves in mind.
Well, I
really,
think they got
you know,
themselves in mind. Everybody thinks their kid's going to win a scholarship.
Yeah, but what I think
that don't happen.
There are people that play on those aspirations of those kids.
Oh, no
if
question.
They can profit from it, which isn't. Which
Well,
isn't
it's
right.
just like the college athletes and the agents prey on them. That's why Harrison's in trouble.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you, any kid, I tell any high school kid, son, you play high school ball, you stand out, you're gonna go somewhere. I'm gonna tell you,
And
somebody's gonna
they
see
will
you.
find
Yeah.
you.
Somebody's gonna see you.
Being an old former college coach, I can tell you that and particularly today with the internet and the combines and the things that are going on, I don't care where you're playing, what level of competition you're playing. Between the summer camps, the combines, all the stuff that's going on.
Somebody's gonna see
If you're in Podunk, South Carolina, and you've got the stats or you've got the physical traits, that is, you've got the size, the stamina, the ability, you will be found. There are no secrets now. And these high school kids that get on these things, Lewis, and they pay big money to, quote, be seen and be promoted, most of that's a scam, guys. They're just trying to take your money.
T.W. Andrews
That's
is a
one.
winner, 18-14.
We have our
Congratulations.
first state
Have
champion.
our first in the 2AA.
That's High Point T.W. Andrews.
All right. So
High
congratulations.
Point T.W. Andrews.
Congratulations to Andrews,
So
state
Andrews-
champion.
Get on the mic, Steve.
They send pressure on the last play and sack him.
All right.
Andrews, it's funny. Andrews
Do what now?
is the
T.W.
High
Andrews
Point area,
over Monroe.
Andrews over
over
Monroe.
Monroe.
High Point Andrews over Monroe.
18-14. We
But
took a
Monroe was driving. They were down on the 20-yard line when time run out.
and they sacked him, as according to Dakota.
Right.
Dakota says they sacked the Red Hawks, and therefore the game is over. All right. Tough luck, Red
Speechless.
Hawks. All right.
Speechless, I tell you.
Speechless.
Yes.
Steve, that's not
Or if
possible
he's
for
ever
you
speechless,
to be
he's
speechless.
dead.
Yeah.
If Dennis is ever speechless, you put the dirt on him. He's gone.
What can I say, boys? You know,
Isn't that right, Tom?
it is what it is, right?
Getting back to what you were saying about kids playing high school sports, Southern Durham, since I was born and raised in Durham.
I know.
And of course, Southern
You made
Durham-
it out.
Yeah. And those kids, they come from two different public housing projects.
Yeah, right.
They are mostly at-risk kids.
Yes.
And this is a big milestone for that school and that principal and the folks there. I hope the best for my Crest Chargers because I'm a Cleveland County resident now. But I am so proud of those folks out of Southern Durham.
Yeah.
Well,
And they had to keep those kids eligible too, Steve.
Yes,
so
sir.
that means they increase their academics as well as their athletic.
Absolutely.
But Steve, if you do get a call from my daughter, she's the curriculum coordinator for Durham Public Schools.
Good system.
And she just recently spent a lot of time in doing her National Teachers Reviving It, Tom, at Southern Durham. And Steve, this is no slam on the neighborhood or the people, but she said you literally got people standing on the sidewalk outside the school dealing crack.
Oh, no question, yeah.
And then you got these kids inside trying to make something out of themselves.
Yep.
And they got a good coach, and they work hard year-round because they realize if I'm going to get out of this deal, this is my ticket. And, we've seen that a lot in athletics. It provides the education, in exchange for your athletic talent and ability. The quarterback's got an offer to Duke. Now, sure, it's just down the street, but what's an education at Duke worth to
Oh,
you?
my
Right,
goodness.
exactly.
You
I
can't
had-
put
I had-
money on that.
I had a young man tell me that the Duke baseball coach is taking a look at him. I said, son, if you have a chance to go to Duke,
Absolutely.
you need to go. So
Dennis, and I'll tell you something
what a
else,
great
too.
school.
these kids, even though the kids that play and don't get scholarships,
Yeah.
a lot of them end up going on to school because of the discipline and the things they've got started and improved their academics, and they end up going to school.
Now, you guys correct me on this. If I took the GPA average of the student population as a whole and the GPA average of the student athletes, you will find that these guys are way above the student average because
question.
they have to be
No
to be
question.
eligible.
No question.
You know, and
they'll
that,
structure
That is
things-
true, and that's true in almost every athletic venue
And
I know
yeah,
of.
and they'll structure things like study halls and things. And what I was trying to explain to my kids is in economics, because I teach a little bit of that, I have a theory. It's forced efficiency. If you don't have a lot of time to waste, you learn to use the time you have better.
Bingo.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what these football players realize. that
Exactly.
If I've got a small
time management's what we used to call
time
that.
management, and I think that sometimes kids who have, they don't work, they don't play sports, whatever, and they're the ones that come in without their homework.
And that's all. That's all college is
That's
time
right,
management.
it's time
Yeah.
management.
You don't have to be brilliant. What
Well-
you have to do, it's just like I used to tell my kids in class. You can find a party on any campus in North Carolina on any night.
Oh, yeah.
But the library's open too.
Well, Lewis,
You make a choice.
what is college? College is an education. And when
Absolutely.
you get your degree as an employer, I don't care if you're in anthropology.
Got a caller.
Okay, we got a caller.
Who we
Steve,
got?
put them through.
Who we got?
Steve's chatting them up right now. So,
Oh, okay.
Dakota obviously did not major
All right,
in
we got
sign
it.
language. I'll say that.
all right, caller.
Hello, who we got? Hello.
Hello.
Oh, I know.
Go, Dennis.
I'll take this one.
You know that voice.
This is my sweet darling daughter right here, Miss Amy Davis. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I was just explaining to these guys beside of me here some of the comments you'd made about Southern Durham and how this was a ticket out for a lot of these kids. Now, I know that you're down there in the Durham school system. You're familiar with these players and the coaches. Give us your take on what this Southern Durham team is like and what this being in the championship game means to these kids.
For a lot of these students, this is going to be probably one of the biggest highlights of their entire lives. The area that they're pulling from as far as their student base is a very high poverty area, and it's also somewhat of a rural area of the county. Still not very developed as far as some of the other places in Durham, but a high minority population there of mainly African Americans as well as Hispanic Latino students, but these students really work hard and they try hard, and for them, this is one of the biggest moments probably of their life.
Well, our engineer here, Steve Roberts, is from the Durham area, and he had just basically said what you just
Exactly.
reiterated, Amy,
Yeah.
about the importance of this educational opportunity for these young men as a future. I know your quarterback maybe has an offer to Duke, your receiver's got an offer from State. What do you see in these kids? You're a graduate of Crest. I know you told me you hated to compare your school to these kids, but what's your thoughts about what this really means future-wise for these people and the community from which they come from?
Well, I look at it as a lot, kind of like how Crest was almost 20 years ago when they went to their first championship game. For a lot of those young men, it put Crest on the radar of a lot of good Division I schools.
Right.
And a lot of those young men were able to get noticed by certain recruiters and scouts and get full scholarships to some of those more prestigious, colleges that have that football dynasty or football program.
And some of those kids will go to some of these programs as walk-ons and win scholarships too.
Absolutely. And so for a lot of these young men who are on this football team, this is their first opportunity to get noticed and to become one of those schools that now is on recruiters and scouts' radar.
Exactly.
Just like Crest is now. Crest is now a high school that a lot of these, larger D1 schools come to. I mean, it's part of their top 20, top 30, schools that they're going to hit. And I think now for Southern Durham, that's going to be this opportunity for them.
Well, tell us a little bit about
the
academics side of this football team. They're not just football players, but they have to have certain grade point averages to be eligible. Is this the difference for some of these kids in being students or being, for lack of a better term, thugs?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this, football I've seen in many of the high schools in Durham is a saving grace. It's what keeps some of these young men off the streets, getting involved in gangs, getting involved in drugs, getting involved in other places and things that they shouldn't be involved in. The coaches here, per North Carolina High School Athletic Association guidelines, have to maintain a certain grade point averages. So the coaches know that, and they're going to make sure that these young men have what they need, get what they need as far as the academic piece in order to remain and stay eligible. Part of it comes with that idea of, you've got to perform to play, and perform in the classroom and perform behaviorally. These coaches don't put up with any mess. Just because you're from this area doesn't give you an excuse to act or be a certain way or be disrespectful.
And you learn from that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So a lot of this program, and I think a lot of with football programs in general, it's about building people, not just building a dynasty or building a winning season.
Absolutely.
And for these young men, that's what these coaches look at, that they are building people, they are building character, and they are building the citizens that we want to have out in the world, in addition to building athletes.
And even though some of these kids won't go to college on a football scholarship, they will be better people and they will be out of gangs and that sort of stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's an opportunity to do something positive with their lives versus just kind of getting into, that cycle of crime and, problems and going forward from there.
In other words, it's a way up and a way out for a lot of these kids that wouldn't have the opportunity otherwise.
Exactly.
Absolutely, and just because, Durham is a larger city doesn't mean that there aren't the challenges as far as opportunities and having a way out just as there are in more rural areas.
Yeah.
Challenges are challenges, and for these young men, this is only the third time that any high school in Durham has ever made it to a state championship in football.
Well,
and it's in our district's history. So this is huge. This is big for them.
Well, Lewis,
and it's it's also big for this school because this school has also had a history of being one of the lowest performing schools in the state, just because of their high poverty ratio. And so to get this kind of attention and get this kind of positive attention is a win-win, even if they don't come home with the title on Saturday.
Well, Amy, we appreciate your call. Now, Lewis, they have a unique program down there. They have Saturday school. My daughter's in charge of it, and she's got to be up real early and be in Durham by about
Amy,
7 a.m.
I don't think I've ever met you, but I just want to give you my sympathy for having to put up with this man.
What do you think she lives in Raleigh?
Friday night, and you have to put up with him all the time, and I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's a hard knock life, and I just hope that he remembers that come Christmas.
I'll see you tomorrow night, Miss Amy.
Thank you for calling, honey.
I do have some Beacon Drive-In peach tea and some apple fritters that you requested.
There you go. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you. We got another caller, Lewis.
Got another caller. Who we got, Matt? Hello?
Caller, who we got?
Yeah.
Matt.
Hey, this is Matt.
Tell us about. Oh, listen, I want to tell you one thing before you tell us about the ball game. Terry Reinhardt, our researched athletic research man here, says that this is the first state championship for High Point Andrews in 22 years, and they won it on the same day of the month at the same stadium, and they beat A.L. Brown 24-14.
Well, they like 13, don't they, Matt?
Did you know all that?
You're breaking up on me. I didn't hear that last part. What was that?
They won 22 years ago on the same day at the same stadium and beat A.L. Brown 24-14.
Well, there you go.
That's from Terry, our man who knows all about athletics.
Yes, sir.
Tell us
Well,
about
this
the
is a pretty
game,
good
bud.
ball game. Final score is Andrews 18, Monroe 14,
Right.
and it went right down to the wire.
That's what they said. Terry had a live feed from somewhere, and he was giving us updates.
Okay. Yeah, Andrews scored late. They scored with about a minute left to go in the ball game to take an 18-14 lead, and had to kick off. And Monroe got the ball back at their 20 and drove down the field and had a last-second play to try to win the game from about the 35-yard line, and their quarterback got sacked.
Yeah, Terry was telling
And that
us,
was the ball game.
and that was the difference. What kind of offenses do these people run? Everybody
Well,
in the
Andrews
spread?
ran out of the spread. They run the ball a whole lot,
Right.
but they run out of a wide open set. They quarterback in an under center or in the shotgun, and backs to either side or 2 or 3 wide, that sort of thing. Monroe, they ran out of the power I to start with, and then along about halfway through the game, they opened it up and went to more of a spread, more of an option
Well,
style
now
attack.
you were impressed with Monroe, weren't you?
Very impressed with them to start with. It looks like they got tired over time. Andrews' defensive line was getting whipped in the first half.
Is that
Absolutely getting beat down. And by the time the second half rolled around, they were starting to get off the clock and get in the backfield and cause some problems for Monroe's offense.
Right. Go ahead, Dennis.
I was just going to ask you, and the Red Hawks seemed to make a surge there and got it 14-12. Matt, what happened to put T.W. Andrews ahead, and they were able to hold on to it? I understand Monroe had the ball going for a goal there. Give us your take on what happened there at the end to turn this ball game around.
Well, what turned it around was a pass interference penalty that was pretty much a non-existent pass interference penalty.
Not in a state championship game. No, not that. Hey,
well,
listen, you know the
Andrews
history
had
with
the ball
Monroe,
3rd
don't
and
you?
10.
Matt,
Andrews, yes, sir.
you know the history with Monroe. One year they were playing in the game down at Monroe to go to the state championship game, and they got a phantom call against them that the officials, after it was over, said, we made the wrong call. However, we're not changing the results of that. So Monroe
This
has
is about 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, Monroe, Coach
Wow.
Searle down there has probably got to feeling like he's got a number painted on his
Yes.
back.
Yep. Well, Matt,
Well,
we appreciate it.
Probably so.
Are you going? You're going to see who in the morning?
I'll be back down here for Shelby in the morning, and then go over to Carter Finley and watch Dudley play Scotland County tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, he's going to go watch Scotland County. You'll probably see Dennis down there at Shelby. He'll be there.
I'm going to have to go to Chapel Hill now to pick up my credentials to go see Crest and Winston-Salem.
Well, are you not going to watch Shelby while you're down there?
Well, if I can get there in time.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, he's on his way down there. Listen, we appreciate your call. We're going to have to get off here and sell some stuff. But thank you for calling, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. You keep me up with what's going on.
All righty. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you. Appreciate your call, man.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Sounds
All
like
right,
it's time
we're going to
for a
have
break.
to take a break here and go sell some Marburger Dodgers. We'll be back shortly with the Marburger post-game show.
Settle in with comfort with a new Comfort Maker heating and air conditioning system from Settle Heating and Air. Comfort Maker heating and cooling products are designed with homeowners in mind, giving you energy savings to cut your home energy bill. Get the high quality and high efficiency of Comfort Maker air conditioning and heating equipment. Get comfort with confidence from Settle Heating and Air. Visit the website at settleinwithcomfort.com or call 704-481-1788.
Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. Those are the powerhouse of vehicles you'll find at Marburger in Shelby. Plus quality pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. And of course, a service department that is second to no one. So when you're in need of another vehicle, See the friendly staff at Marburger. Marburger, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. 1310 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Proud supporters of our local school athletic teams.
Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WOHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincoln, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com. Where are you headed after the big game? To Newt's on the Court Square in Uptown Shelby. Newt's will be open till midnight after the high school football games this season. Come out and celebrate on Friday nights at Newt's. They feature a $5 burger every day, and on Wednesday, all burgers, sandwiches, and wraps are just $5. Newt's features all Angus beef, or build your own salad. For after the game or just about any time, it's Newt's on the Court Square in Uptown Shelby, open 7 days a week until midnight on football Friday nights. Like us on Facebook for our daily specials.
Fall is here. Is it time for a new furnace or heat pump for your home or business? Do you want more comfort from your heating system? Trane and Far City Heating and Air can help. Together, Trane and Far City Heating and Air provide the most reliable heating systems in the world, bringing you quality, comfort, and guaranteed satisfaction. Trane and Far City Heating and Air are offering special year-round Trane Comfort Specialist financing specials to make your purchase so easy and your family so comfortable. Call Forest City Heating and Air, your local Trane Comfort Specialist dealer, serving Cleveland and Rutherford counties for over 30 years with all of your home comfort needs. Phone 828-245-1379. Remember, it's hard to stop a train. See your participating independent Trane dealer or visit Trane.com for complete program eligibility dates, details, and restrictions.
Hospice of Cleveland County announces the opening of their hospice resale store. The store is now open and features approximately 5,000 square feet of retail space. The store is managed by Angela Ballard-Jones and is located at 323 East Marion Street, right beside of Dollar General. Donations are currently being accepted. For more information, call Hospice of Cleveland County, 704-487-4677. The new hospice retail store, now open at 323 East Marion Street in Shelby, right beside Dollar General.
A child's life is so precious, yet all around us, children's lives are being destroyed by drugs. Take an active role in your child's life. Teach them that a healthy, drug-free lifestyle is their best choice. A word from Hooker Bonding of Shelby, our area's quality professionals, a name you can trust and depend on. Hooker Bonding is working today for a brighter tomorrow for our children.
Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WOHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincoln, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
And welcome back to the Marburger post-game show. I'm Lewis Carpenter, and along with my good friends
Dennis Davis
and Tom Senafani.
Yes, and Dennis. For all of those who don't know, Dennis is a Crest fan.
Really?
Yeah. I thought
did that leak out somewhere along the way?
It did. It leaked out.
And I thought I had that covered.
Folks, you better give us a call. Dennis is going to give you some numbers. Bobby's on the phone.
I knew
good.
Bobby. Hey, Bobby.
Hey, buddy.
We're going to make this short because I know you got to get up at the crack of dawn and get on that bus tomorrow.
Well, I was hoping to, but evidently something has come up. I'm not going to get to go, but I will be certain to listen to it on WOHS 1390.
Well, thank you, Bobby. We appreciate that. I'm sorry you're not going to get to be there. I just found out I'm going to have to go. I planned to go, but, Bobby, it's supposed to be real bad weather tomorrow down there, pouring rain the whole time. So tell all your Shelby friends that are going to be sure and they can't take an umbrella. Tell them to take a poncho, piece of plastic, or something to keep them out of the weather down there, because it's going to be sort of wet and nasty down there. And for you, Bobby, it may be best that you didn't make that trip and have to sit out in that rain.
Well, not only that, there's other reasons. I was going to try to go ahead, but nevertheless, I will be, of course, rooting for the Shelby Golden Lions.
Obviously, man.
I'm very proud of them and the year that they've had under Coach Lance Ware, who has done an extremely great job this year. Mm-hmm. And I just really praise the boys for the good work and the hard practices that they've done during the week. And I just hope that it'll rub off tomorrow as they go up against Southwest Sonslow, I believe it is. And
And, I think as long as they don't make any turnovers and just play good, intense football, they should win on tomorrow in Chapel Hill.
Well, Bobby, I've been waiting for you to call in because we'd talked earlier in the week. I just wanted to pass along to you the Brian Simmons prediction for tomorrow in the Southwest Onslow Shelby game. Now, Southwest Onslow has a record of 12-3, and Shelby's 11-4, and he predicts that Shelby will win by 19 points. How does that make you feel, Bobby?
Well, I think they should win by at least 3 touchdowns. I was watching them all last week, and once they put their heads together, they can really play football. And I think R.J. George and his crew and DeClavis Brooks and all the rest of them and Chad Reed and all of them, they're going to come in there prepared to play football on tomorrow.
Well, I think that's a pretty good prediction, Bobby. Southwest Onslow was the 1A, AA state champion last year, and for the Shelby Lions to be favored by 19 over them at this point, I think says a lot about the young men at Shelby and the games they've played and the toughness that they've exhibited for them to be selected over a team with fewer losses that was a reigning state champion in the 1AA classification last year. I think it shows a lot of respect around the state that people have for Shelby High football.
Yes, and you're right. And not only that, as we was talking a while back, that, the more Shelby plays during the latter part of the year, the stronger they get, and they really have really proven that the more they play, the stronger they get, especially in the playoffs, and they have really proven that they can come up and play real good Shelby High Golden Line football the latter part of the season, especially in the playoffs.
They certainly have the experience, and I think Coach Ware and some of the other coaches have said that this group is special, Bobby, because of the way they have fought all season through adversity and have overcome some difficulties to be where they are tomorrow in the state championship game. So my hat's off to Shelby, the football team, and all the fans like you and Steve DeGree who, win or lose, have been loyal in calling in and talking about your lines. And I just want to thank you and all the Shelby fans for sticking with us through thick and thin.
Yes, and I want to say this also, and I want to thank also the Shelby High coaches for doing a good job on the last wear. And I noticed they are really coaching the boys and doing their jobs and making sure that everybody's following the play, even when they do something wrong. They really stay on top of everything, and thank the managers and all the guys and the volunteers is really helping with the team. And the Shelby Golden Lions is really getting good support this year. And while I'm on that, I feel like we're going to have a good basketball team coming up. I think they've only lost one game. And Gabe DeVoe and the crew and Shelby Golden Lions basketball team is really playing good basketball, and I look forward to them getting even better before the season's over with.
Well, we've always talked about Sweet 16 football on here, but Shelby is definitely in the Sweet 16 basketball, and I think the year will be very good for Shelby High School basketball, and Gabe DeVoe, a Clemson signee, is going to do very well. His mother, Gay, and I are good friends, and she had kept me up on the recruiting that Gabe was going through, and she was just happy when he finally made his selection so he could just get on with playing this year. And I think that's what you're going to see is Gabe's going to have a good year along with the Shelby Golden Lions basketball team. And after tomorrow, they can get down to some serious stuff because I've got a feeling a few of these football guys will be joining them on the hardwoods.
Yeah, and I feel like Coach Hollifield, he is doing a great job with our basketball program on this year, and I commend him for the hard work that he's doing, not only for the football team, but his basketball as well, and I think we're going to have a good year in both sports.
Yeah, his attention's been split a little bit here, so now he can turn his attention to basketball only, and that'll make his life a little easier too. And Bobby, once again, thank you for all you've done this year, calling in for the show, and best of luck to the Lions tomorrow. Looks like I'm going to be there pulling for them too. So all of Cleveland County sends you their support.
And I thank y'all so much, and we look forward to next year in football, and just we all put this thing together. And I thank you for the hard work that you've done at the radio station.
Well, thank you, Bobby. We appreciate it. You
Thank
have
you,
a good
Bobby.
one.
Thank you, Bob.
Appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
See you, bud.
All right. It's good loyal listeners like Bobby and Steve Degree and coaches around Lewis that have called in to talk to you. And Tom, you've had
talk to you and Tom, yeah.
Yeah, Coach Beams called in. I want to give a shout-out because, I heard Mark Barnes call into the pregame show, and I was quite shocked because Mark doesn't usually call anything.
Right.
But Sam, I think, has made a little bit of a relationship there. And
right.
Since it was early in the evening,
that's good.
Coach didn't feel like he was under the pressure.
That's good.
You know how it is, Lewis, after a game.
Absolutely.
You just don't have time.
No.
A lot of times,
or you just don't feel like it.
Yeah,
I mean, you just want to. Even if you win, you're exhausted.
You've got to deal with injuries. You got to deal with. Somebody's got to wash your uniforms, and people out there don't realize these coaches. It's not all about the glamour and the glory. Sometimes it's
unfortunately it's not.
Yeah,
but it's nice to have the folks in the studio who know so many of the coaches. And I think that's how we've got them to call in, and
yes.
they would certainly. We got Lance where I saw Lance at the cotillion where he's got a kid there. I've got a kid there. He comes up to me, and
but that's life, Tom.
And I said, Lance, you got to call the show.
Yeah.
he's like, okay. He says, okay, I'm going to call the show. He says, I'm going to call him next week. And sure enough, he called the next 2 weeks.
Tom, I'm a little bit flustered about that because. Lance is not the kind of guy that usually calls and chats you up.
No.
He's pretty serious about it. And Lance is related to me, and yet he'll call and talk to you. So
does he claim it?
But
I didn't say he claimed anything.
Dennis, I want to.
What I was gonna say is, a lot of people have listened to the three of us yap all year long, but I know they like to enjoy listening to the coaches call in. They Okay, well, they like to listen to the coaches talk and give their analysis and give some insight. So we do appreciate Coach Cloninger and Coach Ware and Coach Beam and Coach Sane called in. Coach from Bessemer City called in. Right. We have really enjoyed those folks calling and contributing to our show.
Dennis, I had something on my mind and I forgot what it was. Go ahead. I'll think about it in a minute.
Well, Dakota's and Steve have
I got it.
Okay.
You remember Steve Gardner from Hunter Huss?
Yeah,
he stepped down.
Yeah, he's still AD though.
Going to be full-time athletic director.
Yeah.
But I didn't know whether you knew that or not. But that was in the paper.
Former Burns quarterback, by the way.
Who used to call us on this show when he was a coach at Huss.
He would call.
Yeah, he sure would.
He retired from teaching and is just going to.
No. He's going to be teaching and be athletic director in North Carolina. You have to teach at least 2 classes, and you have 2 free periods for athletic director. So he's going to have to teach at least 2 classes.
Well, one of the things that Dakota was asking me a while ago was to talk about a little something about the kids from Havelock.
Yep.
Lewis, I don't know if you've ever been to Havelock.
Yes. No, I have not.
Well, Jacksonville area. And
I've been to Jacksonville, but I've not been
other
out.
than Sand Fleas, there ain't a whole lot down there.
Oh, I know that. I've been in that area. Yeah, Camp Lejeune's down there.
Now you're barking up the right tree.
I've been to Jacksonville. Yeah,
and they have turned out some of the best football teams in the state of North Carolina the last couple of years.
Well, they're the defending state champion.
Yes, and their quarterback last year, I can't remember his last name, but his first name is Pharaoh. And I'm not talking about the Egyptian kind where it snowed
Moses
today.
and all those people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, he's at USC. That's the real USC, the one in South Carolina. And he's down there. And the running back that they have this year. Now, they wanted me to say just a little something about him. I tried to get a gentleman, he's a friend of mine who's teaching down there, to call us in. But due to some complications, he had said he'd rather not, discuss it with us. But there is down there at Jacksonville, probably one of the finest, most highly sought-after running backs in the entire nation. Tommy's Buckeyes is after him. Michigan's after him. All your SEC teams are after him. And he's more of a scat back kind of runner.
What's his name?
That's what I'm trying to think of right now. And I'm looking here in the paper to see if I can find it. Havelock. Let's see. What is okay. Give me a minute.
All right. We'll give him a minute. We'll give him a
Havelock has won 29 straight games,
Right.
led by running back Darrell Scott.
Darrell Scott.
Darrell Scott, he's nearing 2,000 yards for the season.
Woo.
The quarterback, Travis Sabo, has thrown for more than 2,200 yards. And on defense, Havelock has held 10 opponents to 7 points or less. Lewis, they're averaging, giving up 5 points a game.
Sound to me like Concord got their hands full.
Well, when I said earlier the Spiders were probably going to get
Get
squashed,
yeah.
you know why I said
Yep.
that. Terry, you got any commentary on the Havelock?
Back for last year, went to South Carolina.
That's what's his last name? Pharaoh what?
That's a good question.
I think he redshirted this year.
Yeah, okay. But
Woody
he's at
Fish,
South
if you're
Carolina.
out there, call and tell us.
There you go.
Woody's son is placeholder.
Oh, by the way, we're going to get off from here at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to call us, you better do it in the next
It's
10
now
minutes.
or never.
Because we're going to take a short break and go sell some stuff, and then we'll come back and finish this thing up about 11 o'clock. So you people hang on and come back with us, and we'll be back shortly with the Marburger post-game show.
Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. Those are the powerhouse of vehicles you'll find at Marburger in Shelby. Plus quality pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. And of course, a service department that is second to no one. So when you're in need of another vehicle, see the friendly staff at Marburger. Marburger, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. 1310 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Proud supporters of our local school athletic teams.
Settle in with comfort with a new Comfort Maker heating and air conditioning system from Settle Heating and Air. Comfort Maker heating and cooling products are designed with homeowners in mind, giving you energy savings to cut your home energy bill. Get the high quality and high efficiency of Comfort Maker air conditioning and heating equipment. Get comfort with confidence from Settle Heating and Air. Visit the website at settleinwithcomfort.com or call 704-481-1788. Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WOHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincoln, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
We wrote a funny commercial and hired a talented actor to show how Coke Zero from McDonald's tastes just like Coke, but has 0 calories. We would have told you how refreshing it is and how you can get it for $1. But we never thought it would be this hard to get an actor to stop enjoying our Coke Zero. Our bad. Complement your McDonald's meal with an ice-cold Coke Zero from McDonald's, and any size is only $1 for more happiness to love. Prices and participation may vary. A la carte only.
Remember, it wasn't raining when Noah started building the ark. For all of your waterproofing needs, stay high and dry with a call to H&H Pest Control and Waterproofing. H&H Pest Control and Waterproofing does all types of waterproofing, from basements to crawl spaces, from commercial to residential. Call 704-482-2847, 704-482-2847 for H&H Pest Control and Waterproofing, East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby.
Here, lizard, lizard, lizard.
Oh no, it's total mayhem.
Hurry, call your good neighbor.
You can't. They're not even there.
Why, they can't even lend a good hand. Oh. Relax. At Pegram Insurance, we've got you covered. Pegram Insurance Agency, 220 West Dixon Boulevard in Shelby, and in the Town and Country Shopping Center in Lincoln. West End Sales in Vale is your one-stop for gifts for Dad, the homeowner, or the farmer on your Christmas gift list. Come in now and lay away for Christmas. From Echo blowers, chainsaws, edgers, and trimmers, also steel chainsaws, blowers, and hedge trimmers. You'll find sprayers and tractor seats too. Coming into West End Sales, Highway 18 North at the Highway 274 North intersection in Vale. West End Sales, your Coyote Tractor and Massey Ferguson dealer.
Carolina Energies is your heating and air service experts. They service all brands and feature complete installations. 24-hour service is available with on-call technicians. And this spring and summer, keep your family comfortable with a peace of mind service plan from Carolina Energies. It will keep you cool and save you money on costly repairs. For more information, call 704-482-9561. Carolina Energies, 515 North DeKalb Street in Shelby.
Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincoln, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
All right. Welcome back to the Marburger post-game show. This is going to be our final show for the season. We have two local teams, as you can see by the helmets if you're watching on the internet. We have the two local teams that are still in this thing. Crest plays Southern Durham tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at Winston-Salem. Shelby plays, help me here.
Tomorrow at 11 o'clock.
And who they play?
Shelby will be playing Southwest Onslow, who was last year's 1AA state champion.
All right, Dennis, you've got some predictions on these games. Go ahead. We got about 7 minutes.
We've had one game already tonight in the pan, Tom. It looks like T.W. Andrews pulled an 18-14 last-minute victory. And just to compare, Lewis, they had this game as even.
Okay. That's
Okay,
pretty good.
with
Is that a Vegas line? I mean, where are they getting
well,
this?
this is the guy Brian Simmons who
right.
follows high school football probably statistically better than anybody in North Carolina and has all the information, offense, defense, power ratings.
I've seen him on North Carolina Prep.
North Carolina Preps, and that's where this is coming from. I'll give credit to North Carolina Preps. And he had predicted an even game with an A. Seems like he's saying it's even, but I like Andrews in that.
And we might mention, too, that what Terry's got up here, Coach Rodney McCoy, this is his first state championship. But they won it 22 years ago on the same day, the same month, at the same stadium, and they beat A.L. Brown.
Twilight Zone.
Yes, sir.
A little bigger in 1991. There was only 4 state champions back then.
Right.
Well, here's the predictions that he gives for tomorrow.
Okay.
Now, you may not care about the game being played at 11 a.m. at Wake Forest tomorrow, but that's Plymouth versus Murphy, and he says Plymouth by 5, and they were the defending state champions from last year.
Right.
Also at Wake Forest in the 1AA, James Keenan versus West Montgomery. He has Keenan by 11, Lewis.
I don't know about that. West Montgomery's pretty good. And I'm going to tell you something. These boys ain't played them Mountain Boys yet.
Right. In the 2AA at Chapel Hill, that would be the T.W. Andrews and Monroe game. He said it's even.
Even. He's
in
right.
the 2A at Chapel Hill tomorrow, that's Southwest Onslow versus Shelby. And as I told Bobby, he's got Shelby by 19.
Oh, my
That's
Lord.
a heck of a prediction in a championship game, Steve Roberts.
Dennis, let me ask you right quick. Did Southwest Onslow not beat Shelby in the state championship at Duke back
Funny
in the...
you should mention that.
Go ahead.
Well, back in the day here, I've been following some a little bit.
Matthew and I watched that
NC
game.
Preps. It wasn't even close.
That was
Southwest Onslow laid a whooping on
Scored
Shelby.
the
Sorry,
first-
Steve.
Scored the first 6 times they had their hands on the football.
Yeah.
Matthew and I watched that thing. It was a Duke.
And some of their folks been jabbering at the Lions this week, and the Lions are a prideful pride of Lions. Who knew, Tom?
What about that?
They were they were rubbing it in their face a little bit. But I think tomorrow.
I think the consensus is Shelby's going to win this ball game, but it's still you got to play. And what makes me nervous is bad weather. Bad weather always helps the underdog, in my opinion, because that can create turnovers and other problems.
Well, and see, Shelby's a passing team.
Well, and
go ahead.
The 3A, Havelock at Concord. Now, fellas, this is speed on speed. It's power on power, and he has Havelock by 8 in that one.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go to the 4A and come back to the 3AA. In the 4A, that's Scotland versus Dudley. Now, Lewis.
Yeah.
That's a 15-0 versus a 14-0.
Yeah.
Scotland County by 1.
Ooh.
1.
Good ball game.
In other words, that's going to be a slobber
slobber
knocker.
Yeah, Matthew wanted to see that one. That's one of the ones you wanted to see.
And the 4AA at State. It's Wake Forest versus Mallard Creek. Now, if you thought Shelby was highly favored, Mallard Creek by 21.
Yeah, I don't doubt
If they
that.
were playing the Panthers, they might still be favored by
loaded.
21.
Yeah,
they're
loaded.
good. And for those of you that are still listening out there, at the 3AA at Wake Forest University tomorrow night at 7 a.m., Southern Durham with a 13-2 record versus Crest 14-1. It's Crest by 4.
Hello.
So speed is being respected here.
Right.
I see this game a lot like I did the Northern Guilford game, Tom. The team that gets a break is very well going to likely win this one, just like when Crest played Northern Guilford the first time, and we missed the extra point
with an all-state kicker.
With an all-state kick, Shrine Bowl kicker,
Yes.
and they beat us by 1 point. It could come down in this weather, in this situation.
I just hope the weather holds out. I really do. I think it's a shame
all the
if that's
predictions
playing
you
around.
got?
That's all the
Well, I
predictions.
tell you
got.
what, I think it's about time for us to get off here. Before we get off, Tom, any final thoughts for the season?
No, I'd just like to thank all our listeners out here. Thank you, Steve, for doing a great job. Thank you, Dakota, for being the brains behind it. Thank you, Terry, for doing my old job a heck of a lot better and getting all the scores.
Boy, he can do
And
it. can't he?
thank our listeners. Thank Marburger and Newts for sponsoring the show. Thank you, Dennis and Lewis, for being great co-hosts. Dennis, you're the one that got me in this business. I wouldn't
Don't
be
blame
here.
me, buddy.
Wouldn't be here without you.
Dan Greer suckered me into this thing a few years ago.
And really, thank the station and Kevin and Calvin for having me and putting up with me, because a lot of people wouldn't. And I'm just thankful for
Dennis, final thoughts.
for what they've done. So go ahead.
Final
Dennis.
thoughts. Great year for Burns, for Shelby, for Crest. I talked to the Kings Mountain folks. They're optimistic, Lewis, about the young talent they had this year that got plenty of playing time and coming back. I look for Cleveland County football to continue its long winning tradition, and I look for KTC Broadcasting to continue its even greater contribution by bringing you as many games as possible each week back in the season on video and audio, and we'll be right here next year, Lewis, if
good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Tell you what,
Chrysler,
friends, we've enjoyed this. Tom, any final
Dodge,
thoughts?
Ram,
I
Nissan.
think I
Those
did.
are
I
the
think I
powerhouse
always
of
forget to
vehicles
thank
you'll
somebody. Did
Sasha,
I thank?
down at
Sasha
Newt's.
down at Newt's.
But we
you know,
we do thank the people for sponsoring this show, because we enjoy doing it.
and we've all gained some weight thanks to Newt's. but
Yeah,
I'm gonna
no
tell you
kidding.
what,
and
it's
Steve
good
Roberts
food.
for putting up with us, Steve.
Absolutely.
Thank
Even
you,
if you are a
Steve.
Duke
And
fan, we still like it.
as the logo says, analysis, coaches' interviews, and general silliness.
And
See you, folks.
See you next year. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. Those are the powerhouse of vehicles you'll find at Marburger in Shelby. Plus quality pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. And of course, a service department that is second to no one. So when you're in need of another vehicle, see the friendly staff at Marburger. Marburger, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. 1310 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Proud supporters of our local school athletic teams.